What if all the economic chaos we're seeing today isn't new at all? What if I told you it's a predictable pattern, a script that has played out again and again for centuries? Well, we're going to dive right into this because history has a pretty shocking story to tell us about massive debt, and it suggests we might be getting very close to the final chapter. I want you to remember this number, 5. It's not random. It is the number of times that civilization has been forced to hit a hard reset button, all because of one single powerful force.
And look, we're not talking about a mild recession or some kind of market correction here. We are talking about a fundamental, ground-shaking reset, an event that literally erases massive amounts of debt and dramatically shifts wealth from one group of people to another. It's a cycle that's been repeating since the days of the Roman Empire right up to the modern age.
So yeah, this is not a modern invention, it is a historical cycle. You know, the names, the dates, the currencies, they all change. But as we are about to see, the mechanics underneath it all have stayed, well, kind of eerily consistent. Just look at this timeline. It happened back in 33 AD with Rome's financial meltdown. It happened in the 1340s, right before the Black Death tore through Europe. We see it pop up again in revolutionary France, then in post-World War I Germany, and even in the rebuilding of Europe after World War II. 5 totally distinct moments, all driven by the exact same unstoppable logic. So what is this logic? What's the secret sauce here? Well, the source material lays out a surprisingly simple 6-stage blueprint that every single one of these great debt cycles follows. And honestly, understanding these 6 steps is the key to figuring out exactly where we are today. Okay, so it all kicks off with this prosperity illusion, where easy credit makes everyone feel rich. Then, whoosh, debt blows past a critical threshold. We're talking 2.5 times a country's entire economic output. That's when the debt trap springs shut. Suddenly, all the new growth the economy creates is immediately eaten up by interest payments. This leads to that sinking realization that the debt is mathematically impossible to repay. That creates intense political pressure, forcing everyone to the final stage, the reset. So that's the historical blueprint. The billion-dollar question you're probably asking is, are we in it now? Is this ancient pattern playing out in real time, right in front of our eyes? Let's take a look at the data. 335%. That's the current global debt to GDP ratio. You remember that critical threshold from stage 2? We didn't just cross it, we flew past it a long time ago. Now this is where it gets really interesting, because look at how perfectly the modern era maps onto that blueprint. The prosperity illusion from the 80s to 2008? Yep, check. Crossing that critical threshold after the 2008 crisis? Done. But here's the kicker. Right now, we are living through stages 3, 4, and 5 at the exact same time. We're caught in the debt trap. The math is becoming painfully obvious, and the political pressure is ratcheting up every single day. And hey, if you think this is all just some historical theory, you're missing the giant flashing red light coming from the single biggest financial market in the world. The bond market, what they call the smart money, is screaming that a major disruption is on the horizon. And that signal is called an inverted yield curve. I mean, think about it. It should be simple, right? You should always get paid more interest for lending your money for a longer time. But when that flips, when short-term loans actually pay more than long-term ones, it's the market's way of saying it expects some serious economic pain in the near future. And this one indicator, it has predicted nearly every single recession for the past 50 years. And boom, this chart shows you exactly what's happening right now. A 2-year bond pays more than a 10-year bond. This isn't just some abstract chart. It's a vote of no confidence from the deepest pool of capital on Earth. And it confirms the immense stress that 6-stage pattern predicted. So, if the pattern holds and the debt is truly unpayable, how does this whole thing end? Well, history is crystal clear. There are no soft landings from here. There are only 3 ways out. Option 1, hyperinflation. The government just prints money into oblivion. They technically repay the debt, but they do it with worthless currency, and they destroy savers in the process. Option 2, a jubilee. The government simply cancels debts by law, which just wipes out anyone who lent money. And the third and darkest path is war, which resets the whole system through pure destruction. Notice what's not on that list? Calmly paying it all back. Now, according to the analysis we're looking at, we're probably heading for a mix of options 1 and 2. Not one single giant crash, but more of a slow-motion reset. We're talking years of stubbornly high inflation to erode the value of the debt, sprinkled with selective jubilees. Think about all the debate around student loan forgiveness as a little preview of that.
Okay, this all sounds huge and abstract and global. But here's the most important part. Every single one of these great resets creates very clear winners and very clear losers. And understanding this pattern is really about understanding how it could impact your own financial future.
The losers, typically, are the people who played by the old rules. People holding a lot of cash watch its buying power just melt away like an ice cube on a hot day. Creditors, like bondholders, they get their money back, sure, but it's worth far, far less. And retirees on fixed incomes, they find their steady checks just don't cover the bills anymore. But on the other side of the coin, you have the winners. People with large, fixed-rate debts, like mortgages, get to repay their loans with cheaper, inflated money. And the owners of hard assets, things you can actually touch, like real estate, gold, productive businesses. They tend to preserve their wealth because those things have value no matter what a particular currency is worth. So the key takeaway from all this source material isn't to panic. It's about perspective. It suggests that the financial playbook that worked for the last 40 years, saving in cash, holding bonds, might be the exact wrong strategy for the decade ahead. The focus really shifts from financial paper to real tangible things. And that leaves us right here. This 6-stage pattern has run its course 5 times over 2 millennia. All the evidence we've looked at suggests we are deep inside the 6th cycle. So the only question that really matters now is, are you positioned for how it ends?